we go. Go for it. Go for it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Harvey here and Julia Patterson with this edition of Success with Dynamic Duo. Fasten your seatbelts. We are going to provide you some serious value that's probably going to spin your head off your shoulders and blast off to the moon with the amount of knowledge, value, expertise, personal development, you name it, it's all there. We're super excited to welcome you, Jayc, to the show. I'll pass it over to Julia so she can tell a little bit about his story, and then he can tell and get into his meat and potatoes about why he is what he is and why he does what he does every single day to make a difference. Take it away, Julia.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome, Jayc. So I want to say that my intro is going to be a little longer today, just because Jayc has provided me with a whole bunch of information. So I'm going to give you a really good view of what he's done. Now, in speaking with Jayc, he started his career at about age 12 doing financial stuff, right? But he spent 25 years as a computer geek designing document management workflows for top major companies, banks, governments in Australia. He managed $16 million projects. He's taught modern jive dancing for 6 years. He's managed an affiliate launch where the provider made $1 million in sales. He's owned a web design company for 10 years, a mobile app company for 2 years. He has been a psychic all his life. He represented Australia on Battle of the Psychics reality TV show, which was 13 episodes over 6 months of filming in Ukraine. And they got third best in the world by audience vote. He's co-hosted 16 episodes of Psychic Investigations TV show in the Ukraine, which he solved murders, kidnappings, pedophilia cases, and more, giving actual evidence that was used in court to convict the criminals. He's currently launching his book detailing the TV shows he starred in, and he's got huge goals. So, Jayc, that's the longest one I've ever done. Right?
Okay, good. Well,
it's amazing. So if you could just tell us your story, what you want to share with us today, how you stay motivated, how you have accomplished so much in your life. It's amazing. So please share with us.
Well, it's lovely to be here. And, I have achieved a lot. And part of my journey has been, I've got to wear a hat. You've got to have a label on your forehead of what you do. And I've never been able to wear just one hat. I'll have a hat on for a while. And when I have that hat on, I am 100% committed to that journey. Okay. It becomes a huge part of my life. It becomes who I am. I identify with it. I embrace it. I absorb it. I master it. And then I teach it. And so what's ended up happening over my career of all these years is I've mastered things, then I've taught. And it's taken me on one heck of a journey. Now, let's see, where shall I start? I'm just trying to choose where to start because, I did start doing accounting and my mum really wanted me to be an accountant. Yeah, no. Sorry. My attitude back then was, I couldn't think of anything more boring. But I was very good at it. I worked in a supermarket in my teens. I managed a supermarket. So you can throw me into any supermarket in any country of the world. I can find my way around. I'm one of the few men that can find their way around a supermarket, knows how to get anything and everything. And here I am now in Ukraine. I can go shopping in a foreign country where I speak very little of the language. But I can come home with a whole trolley load of food and not poisonous. That's a good thing. But basically, I'm still trying to think where to start. But look, let's go into the psychic world because that's always the fun woo-woo stuff. And it gets a little bit more interesting there because I've got a huge corporate background. And managing projects, managing training, designing document management workflows. I could walk into any office in Australia, in any company, look at what was happening and go, okay, we can fix that. I'll just digress. I had one lady, she was the PA to the CEO, and she would have to do the board papers. Now, she was a single mum. Well, the night before the board meeting, she'd be there till midnight, 2 a.m., getting all this paperwork, these piles of paper. And her and the CEO spoke to me one day, and I said, what if we do this? And I just designed this whole workflow straight away on the whiteboard for her. And I said, if you do that, I can guarantee you'll be home at 6 o'clock the night before. Well, the next time I saw her after she'd purchased that workflow, I walked into their reception area, and there was a glass window into the office area. And I said to the receptionist, I'm just here to see this lady. Well, she saw me through the window. You hear this scream. Everybody looks. She comes running to the door, comes screaming out, throws herself around me, gives me the biggest hug, thanking me because I changed her life. That was because I just walked into her. I spoke to them about her biggest problem. She told me her problem, and I found the solution. And everything I've done in my life is finding solutions for people. Mm-hmm. And so, the corporate world was really exciting for me, but I was living a dual life. On one side, I've got this very logical, methodical, rational mindset. But then on the other side, I've got the psychic world. And I've got to tell you, when my abilities became very, very strong in my early 20s, now they've been strong in my childhood, but they really went to town in my early 20s. I actually wondered if I was crazy. And should I be locked away in, a nice rubber room with a beautiful jacket that does up the back and keeps me cozy?
I used to feel like that too.
And so, I questioned everything that I believed in. I questioned every situation. And then one day I foretold a death. Well, I had to share that information with a person, and I did. Then I didn't hear from her for about 9 weeks. And then I'm sitting there, it's a Sunday night, and a ghost appears in front of me, and it was a little old lady. And I talk to her, and she says to me to call this girl. So I call her, and she says, I said to her, why did I just have a ghost come and tell me to call you? Now remember, this is pushing all my buttons as well and all my belief systems, because I wasn't brought up in a spiritual or religious way. For me, the only reason you'd go to church was for hatch, match, or dispatch. Birth, death, or marriage. And I said, why is this ghost contact me and tell me to ring you? And she said, oh my God, you're seeing her too. And I went, I'm seeing who? And she goes, that's right, you don't know. And I said, I don't know what. I'm kind of getting a little upset at this point. I've just had a ghost materialize in front of me, talk to me, and tell me to ring somebody. Am I going crazy? Or is it real? Now, I had a healthy dose of skepticism. But 3 weeks after I had told this prediction to this girl, her mother had dropped down and died. And for the last 6 weeks, they've been seeing her around the house. And she wouldn't leave. And so I then told her, right, go into Mum's room. I described Mum's room. I'd never been in the house. I then went, right, now that chest of drawers, third drawer down, under the, I think it was her underwear anyway. There was a little box that they hadn't found, and in that box was the deed to the house. Now, they hadn't been able to find those documents. So I led her straight to the documents. Now, how did I know where to go? Let's put the skeptic hat on for a moment. Was that a cold reading? Well, it was impossibly cold because, one, I was on a dial phone. I was 20 miles away from the person that I was speaking to. I was describing a room in a house that I had never seen. Yet I was able to provide completely accurate information.
Wow. So, Jayc, you've went on to do a lot of stuff in your life with the TV shows and things like that, and I can understand by your story where you're coming from with that. But how did you take those steps? Like, what was it that motivated you, and how did you push through to get to that point where you've gotten through, okay, yeah, I'm not crazy,
Yep.
and now you're taking it to that next level, because, for a lot of people, that would have stopped them.
Oh, yeah. Well,
You obviously just kept on going. And, like, what was it that took you there?
Well, I'd lost the use of my right arm through an accident. And I'd learned hypnotherapy to control the pain. And so for me, having these experiences was opening up a whole new world of possibility for me. And then I realized that I could actually help people. Now, back then, there was no internet. And I'd go through, I was dating a girl, and she had a German Shepherd dog. And we'd walk the dog through the local cemetery and have ghosts come up to us and ask us to help find their family because no one had visited the grave. And I then went through the telephone books, rang these families and said, hey, you need to go visit your dead grandmother or your dead mother. Now, I had a few people hang up and abuse me, but I also had a few people thank me. And they went, oh, yeah, we haven't been in a long time. How did you find me? And then I'd give them a piece of personal information that was even more impossible for me to know. And it became, I'd start seeing other people, other psychics in the business. And I'd see them doing the vague, oh, your mother, she was old when she died. Of course she was old. Hello? That's generic rubbish. It is. It's generic stuff. Me being the person that I am, I want details and I want it to be the truth. And if it's not the truth, I'm not going to play the game. I'm not going to say it just for the sake of saying it. I'm not going to say it just for money. I'm not going to say it just for ego. I just want to share the truth. And it's been funny because I've tried to do this over many years doing many different ways. And I've had people, I had a coach one day he was my business coach. He was coaching me. And I questioned him one day on something that I saw in him. And that was the last time I was ever coached by him. He sacked me that day because I saw his truth. Now, I only asked him because I saw and I wanted to learn and I wanted to grow. And that's what keeps me motivated, is I love to learn. I want to grow and I want to have the best life possible. But I've struggled something chronic because every time I would go to succeed, someone would knock me down. In my career, I got very, very good technically in the company that I was working with, and one of the other management people took a dislike to me because I questioned his knowledge only because I had to teach it. And I wanted the correct knowledge. So I questioned. Mm-hmm. He then took it on himself to try to damage my career. And then as a psychic, I've had people throughout my life who disagree with what I do, or who try to say, oh, I do that, I'm better than you. It's not a competition. I do what I do, the way I do it, because I'm me. Simple. I'm not here to compete with anyone, which is funny considering I've been on a reality TV show where I competed. But there was a reason for that, because I'd had people over the years, people that were close to me, tell me how bad a psychic I was, and then use my information for their business and make money and benefit from it. And so my self-esteem, my self-worth was smashed to hell every step I took forward. But I kept going, because there's only one way forward in this life. Well, there's only one way in this life, and that's forward. You know, I can move along the timeline backwards and forwards and see people's lives. But my life keeps going forward no matter what. No matter the situation. Now, I've had partners and business partners steal thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars from me. I've had all the difficulties that I've experienced have inspired me to master the situation even more. And that's been my motivation, is I've had bad stuff happen, and my goal is to put good stuff into my life. Now, when I came to Ukraine, I'd been meditating in December 2011, and I heard, get rid of everything, you're leaving in July 2012. And I'm going, but I'm in a relationship. I kind of like this girl. I did, she was lovely. Unfortunately, the relationship came to an end about the end of February, beginning of March. My meditations are still happening. I'm still hearing, you've got to get rid of everything. So I trust. I follow that guidance. I get to a point where in April, I get a phone call from the TV channel here in Ukraine, STB, and they said, you are selected to represent Australia in the TV show Bit Facts That Are Sensitive, which translates to Battle of the Psychics. You're leaving in July 2012 for 1 week. You'll come over for casting. We'll perform on the show. We'll do the casting. And if you succeed, we'll fly you back to Australia for a week so you can get all your stuff, and you can come back and spend 6 months here competing on the show. I'm going, woohoo! My meditation was right. 2 weeks later, and I tell my flatmates, because they all thought I was crazy anyway, because I was shutting things down and selling stuff. Then 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. It was STB again. Sorry, X Factor have gone over budget. We've had our budget cut. We can't fly you. We can't afford to fly you from Australia to Ukraine. So you'll have to go on next season. Yeah. Okay. I meditate some more and I hear, you're leaving in July 2012. Hurry up. Sell up everything. Well, I'm not going to Kiev. They've already said no. What do I do? And you know what? I sat back and I went, what the hell? I've got to do this. I have to trust my guidance. I have to. My self-esteem was at such a low. It really was. You know, I'd come out of a relationship. I was feeling very battered, a little bit fragile, as you do. And I went, I'll just do this. I got rid of everything. Come the end of June, Monday morning, I meditate and I hear, move to Sydney. I was up in Brisbane in Australia. Move to Sydney. So I rang a friend in Sydney and went, "Can I stay at your place?" Sure. Now, I was running out of money. I had no job. I had no car. I had 60 kilos of luggage. I organised to move to Sydney. Friday, I'm taking the train, a 12-hour train journey. You can't put 60 kilos of luggage on a plane easily.
No.
Kind of expensive. A one-way rental on a car? Yeah, no, not a good idea. Very expensive. Wednesday night, it's a full moon. I'm walking along the beach. I've just had dinner. I'm looking at the moon coming up. It was a beautiful full moon. My phone rings. It was 6:40 p.m. I'll never forget that time. "Hello, Jayc. Yudoslav from STB." "Okay. Hi, Yudoslav. Jayc." Now remember, this is Wednesday night. "Jayc, can you be in Kiev on Saturday?" "No." "Why?" he says. "Well, tomorrow I've got a truck coming to take my furniture. On Friday, I'm on a train for 12 hours to Sydney. And to get to the embassy in Canberra, I'm about 1,500 kilometres away. I can't do it because I need to get a visa." He goes, "I'll call you back." I'm now walking along the beach saying a particular 4-letter word starting with F. Have I just said no to the greatest opportunity of my life, and have I just screwed it up? And all I heard was, "Ooh, pretty moon." What was happening was the moon had come up and it was reflecting off the pools of water because it was low tide, and there was like 3 moons.
Pretty moon, yes.
Pretty moon.
That's a beautiful.
Great.
That's
Yeah,
a beautiful
helpful,
moonlight.
thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So then it's about 45 minutes goes by, just long enough for me to stew and make up all sorts of stories and wonder and question and kick myself a few times. And he rings me back and says, "Okay, I've spoken to the producers. You'll arrive on Thursday. You'll be on the plane on Wednesday. You can go to Canberra on Monday or Tuesday, and I'll send them a fax saying to give you every assistance." On Friday, I catch the train down to Sydney. On Tuesday, I go to the embassy in Canberra. Now, you know what it's like to fill out a visa for a country? You got a pile of paperwork this big. Well, they give me that pile of paperwork, and he goes, "Right, put your name and address and date of birth on the front page." Okay, now go to the back page, the last page, See that row of boxes? Tick no on all of them. Not a criminal, not a terrorist, not a drug dealer, not a no, I'm a good person, Now sign on the bottom, Now go to the bank and pay the money and come back, and we'll have your visa in 20 minutes.
Wow.
And he goes, "You must be very important."
I love it.
That's quite the story. Holy, because all that time you were just listening to your intuition, your inner guide. And how many people would have went, and not followed it? That's huge. Like, that's a big story. Like, that's amazing.
Well, the next day I'm standing at Sydney Airport waiting for the first of 3 flights over a period of 30 hours.
Damn.
And I'm standing there going, I'm about to board the first flight to Bangkok. And I'm going, hang on. I'm going to a country that I know nothing about, where they speak a language I don't understand. I don't know where I'm staying. It must be real because the flight's been paid for. My visa's valid and to get a visa. What's happening with my life?
Wow.
And I arrived in Kiev 30 hours later. I arrived there. My luggage arrived about 38 hours later. Yeah, my luggage didn't quite make it, but it arrived late that afternoon.
Did you send it someplace else? Or
No, well, the first flight to Bangkok was delayed by 90 minutes, and I had a 90-minute stopover in Bangkok. So they rushed me and one other person from the plane. They put us on an electric tuk-tuk. I don't know if you know the tuk-tuks of Thailand.
No.
Oh, these electric ones are just as bad as the petrol ones.
Oh.
And we drove at ridiculous speeds, nearly knocking over passengers from one side of the airport to the other. That was hysterical, holding on tight.
It's like a golf. It's like a golf cart on
steroids.
On nitrous.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, get out of the way. We're coming through. You move, we're not. Well,
Move
we are moving.
it.
Yeah. We've got to run you over. Little old ladies were jumping out of the way. Children, small animals.
Just like in the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we're the last two to get on the plane. They held the plane for us.
Wow.
Going through security. Quick, take your shoes off.
Don't forget your belt.
Don't forget your belt. And you were running half undressed.
Oh.
But I get
that's where they get those crazy stories from border security.
Yes.
It's all those crazy Australians and the people from Russia and India and all them others. But it's awesome. I love that show.
Yeah. Well, when I finally get to Kiev, and I go up to border security, and I hand them my passport, and you got the incoming passenger card, and he has a look at it, and he goes, "Well, where are you staying?" Because there's meant to be an address on it. And I went, "Don't know. I'm here for STB, for the show, bid for extensive." And he goes, "No worries. Clickety click, stampity stamp, stampity stamp. Have a wonderful time." And I'm just going, okay.
So, Jayc, I mean, most people think that all of the things that you've done, I mean, yes, I'm sure you've experienced setbacks, but the way you tell your story, I mean, most people would have stopped at a lot of that stuff because, I mean, but you were so open, and that's such a huge, huge difference from a lot of the other stories we hear.
Yeah.
It's
the reason why I'm so open is because I learned a long time ago, there's two ways to live, in your head or your heart. And most people today are conditioned to live in their heads.
Yeah.
And my goal is with everybody I meet, I want to meet your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I don't care about people's heads, their experiences, their knowledge doesn't matter. What matters to me is their heart. And I was interviewed a few years ago on a radio show, and the guy asked me, how do I do what I do? And I said, it's easy, I just wrap everything in love. Well, he went to town on that, became very abusive.
Really?
Because he didn't understand what love actually is or what love means. And I'm not just talking about warm and fuzzy relationship love. I'm talking about going into the depth of your soul, of your heart, of your body, of your mind, of everything, your personality. And being present in that moment and understanding that this is a soul that you're talking to. This is somebody else who's having an amazing experience. Now, I can do one of two things. I can be aloof. I can be disrespectful. Well, it's more than one or two things. I can interrogate. So why are you asking me all these questions? I can be horrible. I can be critical. Oh my goodness, you wear glasses. wow. And, you know, I've got contact lenses in at the moment. I wear glasses too. We all have situations. We're human. And my goal, my greatest goal, is to get into the hearts of every person I can meet. And then I realized that one-on-one, that's hard work. It's tiring, it's exhausting. One to many. Now that's a goal I wanted to achieve. Now when I got on that Bitfix Extensive, we were number 2 in the ratings with an audience of 34 million people. 34 million people heard me, heard the words that I said on the show. Now, yes, they were translated into Russian. I spoke English, then things were translated. But I've had people come up to me in the street here, in the supermarket. I've had people follow me down the street. I've had the celebrity moments. Oh, there's a whole other set of stories. But I've had people, my wife and I, we were in the town that she's from, just before Christmas. We're walking down the street. We had this woman just suddenly appear in front of us going, I know you. You're from Bitfix Extensive. Yeah. Loved your work. Oh, great. And then she was off. And you go, hang on a second. I have no idea who this person was. I know nothing about their family, their background. But they saw me on TV. They liked what I did. They recognized me. They made the effort to come up and say hello and tell me that they liked me and they liked what I did. I touched their heart. Mm-hmm. And that's been, for me, the biggest reward. So why do I do it? Because I want to touch as many hearts in this life as I can. And, you know, when you have people come up to you and hug you and cry on your shoulders because you've changed their life, because they saw what you said on a TV show about a situation that they also had, and you helped heal their heart, and you brought peace to their family, it makes it all worthwhile. Now, I've seen some horrific things here. That pedophile case, that was horrific beyond belief. I had a personal investigation where a family came to me and they said, our 18-year-old daughter was killed by a train. What can you tell us? And so I connected and I went, now remember, they're speaking in Russian. My wife translated. And I said, okay, I've got her. She's showing me her feet. She says to me her feet are really important. Why would her feet be important? Only 3 people knew what I'm about to tell you. One was the funeral director who dealt with the body, and the mother and father. The grandmother, who was also there, she didn't even know. When the train hit this girl, it chopped off her feet and they buried her without feet.
Oh my.
Now, you can say that's cold reading if you want to go skeptical. How's that cold reading? How could I get a specific piece of information so accurate? And this is what I discovered, was my accuracy became beyond belief. It became frighteningly real. And so I was able to touch different lives. And to this day, that babushka lives near my mother-in-law, And she often pops into my mother-in-law's pharmacy and asks, how's your wonderful son-in-law? Because I brought peace to the family.
That's a gift. Oh, that's such a...
Now, and that's it. When you get these opportunities, and, I've got 100 stories. But what matters to me is that I can touch somebody's heart. And I found that television was a great way to do it, and being able to represent my country even better. And to get the level of success that I've had, and then to go on and do psychic investigations and solve murders and have people locked away, and the families that we brought peace to was just, it was unreal. I had one situation where a young girl, she was abused by 6 men, stabbed 17 times and thrown down a well. You know what a well is? It's where the village gets the water. She actually drowned. Her cause of death was drowning. I relived the last moments of her life, and I shared some personal information. And on camera, scared the heck out of the crew because of what was happening to my body at the time. And her father, later that day, he came up to me, and he's the big Russian Ukrainian man. I say Russian Ukrainian because their families are all pretty mixed here.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He comes up to me, and my translator's next to me. And he says, thank you. You brought peace to my heart. And with tears streaming down, he puts his arms around me and gives me this biggest hug and sobs on my shoulder.
It's life-altering.
Yeah.
It was his 14-year-old daughter.
I got goosebumps, Jayc. I'm actually.
I give people goosebumps because of these stories, because you can tell if what I'm saying is real or not because of those goosebumps.
Yeah.
And when you get these situations, and I was interviewed when they had the war here in Ukraine. I was interviewed on Australian television by one of the news crews, and they said, well, why are you still there? And I said, well, because people need my help. And they're going, but it's a war zone. I'm going, yeah, I am afraid of my life. The Tatushki are 2 kilometres away. That's a word for the criminals. They're only 2 kilometres from where I'm living, and down the end of the street in the park there's 300 locals armed with baseball bats and sticks and stuff to help protect our area. Now I'm in Kiev, a built-up city. That was how much fear there was in the area. But there were families that needed me, and so I was here for them. And even now, last night we went to our local supermarket, and one of the checkout ladies, she voted for me on the SMS voting. And we're going through a checkout, and she says, can I come and have a meeting with you? Sure. And she goes, how much is it? And I said to her, don't worry, we'll work something out. The average salary in Ukraine is $150 per month.
Wow.
Just like the Philippines.
Yep.
These people, they work 12, 15-hour days. They'll work 6 days on, 1 day off. The conditions that they work in are horrific. I'm not here to get rich. I'm here to help people. Now, while I was on Bitfix Extra Defensive, I'd been picked up from the airport to come through to be taken to my hotel. Yugoslav met me. Phew. You walk out of an airport, somebody please recognize me. My phone is dead.
Make sure they have a gun
in my
underneath their
suitcase.
shoulders.
This guy walks up, Jayc, phew, I'm recognized. We're in the car. We're driving. And he goes, Jayc, are you married or single? I went, single. He goes, would you like a Ukraine bride? Now, at that point, I was taking photographs of what I was seeing out the window. And there was a suburb called Poznicki. And Poznicki is an interesting place because it's a contrast of the old Soviet concrete block apartments and modern, new, architecturally designed apartments. Amazing contrast. One side of the street, you've got what looks like a poverty city, and the other side of the street, these beautiful, expensive apartments. It's a real contrast. I took a photo there. 3 months later, I'm coming back to the airport to do my trip back to Australia to get my winter clothes. And I said to Yaroslav, I'm very disappointed. And he went, why, Jayc, why? I haven't got my Ukraine bride. And he said, Jayc, there are many beautiful Ukrainian women here. I brought you here. It's up to you to make the effort.
That's funny.
And I went, yeah, fair enough. So I sat on the plane and I headed back. You know, I got 30 hours back to Australia and 30 hours coming back here. And I went, you know what? I'm going to do things differently because for the first 3 months, I was competing against the other psychics. I was exhausted. I was pushing myself to the limit. I was doing an amazing result. I've been voted best psychic of the week a few times as well. But I realized I've actually achieved something pretty magical here so far. What if I just do the best for me now? Excuse me. So when I came back, I stopped competing. And I just allowed and went with the flow. And I just was me. And the studio producers recognized something different. Something had changed. My whole attitude had changed. You know, I'd seen some of my friends, other competitors, evicted, kicked out. They'd failed at their tasks. Yeah, I'd succeeded at all my tasks. There was one task in the whole show that I failed at. And the funny thing was, I'm walking through a forest where they'd set traps for us. There were logs that would fall down on you. There were nets that would lift you in the air. There were holes you'd fall in. Well, I ran between two trees and an explosion went off and I got showered in soil and stuff. We had explosives. But on the way to that task, the producer, she said to me, so what sort of information are you going to get about they called them heroine. This was the lady we were going to be doing the information about that we had to find. And I went, I'm getting nothing. I'm not going to waste my energy. I already know I'm failing at this task. And she was, but you're really good. You're one of the best here. Well, no, what do you get? And I went, I don't need to get anything. I already know I've failed at this task. I know. And she was, but I went, look, I'll do my best anyway, but I know I'm not going to see her. And of course I go between two trees and bang, the explosion goes off from a hidden tripwire. Even if something goes wrong, I know. Now, 2 weeks after I arrived back, I was looking up, well, I'd actually been looking up just before I left. I needed some shaving foam because I have a very hard beard. And the usual supermarket foam doesn't really give me a good shave. I found a company called Amway, which had a gel. And I like a gel foam because it sticks to the hair and makes it soft. It makes my shaving a lot nicer. Well, I looked up Amway Kiev English speaker on Facebook. Up comes Svetlana. And I looked at her photo and I went, oh, she's a bit of all right.
You mean she's mighty hot?
Yeah.
Like smoking hot, like you can feel the heat hot.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
underplay it. Don't underplay it. Tell it how it is.
Well, so I tried to arrange to see her, but my filming schedule kept getting in the way. So then come October 17, we finally meet. It's a rainy day. I'm standing on the stairs at the Ukraine Mall. She's running late. There is a mass of umbrellas in front of me. I couldn't see who anyone was. I'm just standing there waiting. She arrives. She stands in front of me. She drops the umbrella, looks up at me with her gorgeous eyes, and goes, "Hello." And I looked at her. I looked straight into her eyes, and that was it. Game over. Game, set, and match. That's it.
She had you at the smile.
Oh, the eyes. I didn't even see the smile at that point. I was just in the eyes. I went straight into her soul and went, "Oh, yeah, hello." Right, well, that's it. Game over.
And then the little birdies started going around. Tweet, 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 tweet. Like, oh my.
Yep.
Love at first
Well,
sight.
Cupids.
Love struck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so we
Awesome.
sat and we chatted and we used Google Translate because her English wasn't the best. Then the next day I met up with her again and we basically dated from every day since.
Awesome.
Then the studio found out that I was seeing Sveta, and they then recorded our love story for the finale.
Oh, cool.
So we had a crew of 22 for a day where we drove around various places of Kiev and we told our love story. And that was for the 30-minute segment for me, about me on the finale.
Neat. So, Jayc, from what I'm kind of trying to formulate this into something that can be a takeaway for our audience. And for me, what I'm hearing is that you followed your intuition. You haven't let any of the negative stop you because you've had rejection. You've talked a little bit about that.
Massive.
But you've always kept your heart. You've always been open. And obviously, at some point, you developed a big vision. You realized what your mission and purpose was in this life. Am I correct in that?
Well, I have a very open purpose. And I believe everybody has the same purpose.
Which is?
To love and be loved. That's why we are here in this physical form.
Okay.
As a baby, we see, you've got a goosebumpy again, haven't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sean, too.
But see, you can do, your people go, "Oh, I've got to do my passion. My passion has got to be my purpose." No. Or my skill has to be my purpose. No. My knowledge is my purpose. No. Your purpose is simple. It's to love and be loved. And the second,
funny that you should bring that up, Jayc. Most people don't know what their purpose is.
No.
When you ask them, they're
don't.
like, "Oh, that's making money, and I got to do this, and I got to pay bills." And no. This is way beyond that. This is light years ahead of that purpose.
Yeah.
See, the second you realize that your purpose is to love and be loved, then everything you do, am I loving another or am I doing this to love me? Now, I like chocolate.
I love chocolate. My wife.
I love chocolate.
Crazy about chocolate.
Before.
And so, when I have chocolate, am I loving me? Yes. If I give someone chocolates, am I loving them? Yes. Now, I'm a hug person. And I give hugs. And when I give a hug,
too.
When I give hugs, I give a right to right hug, not a left to left. Because right to right is heart to heart.
Right. Correct. Yes.
And then if anyone, when I'm hugging, starts to baby bird me, no. Because the second you do that, you're disrupting the energy flow.
Yeah.
And so I hold people and in my job as a psychic, as a medium, I have hugged mothers whose sons have been killed. And when they've hugged me, they've said, I can feel my son coming through. I can feel him hugging because I can bring their energy through. Now, that changes lives in itself.
So, Jayc, would you agree that, your psychic gift is what you use for your, not use, it's what you pass on to the world.
Yes.
So when I hear you talk about that, I think each one of us has our own gift.
Yes.
That we're to share with the world, to love and be loved, right?
Yes.
Do you agree with that? Sean, you agree with that?
Absolutely.
We all have skills. We all have abilities. We all have gifts. You got all goosey again, haven't you? I love it. I love these days.
Me too.
But this is why I do what I do, because I can guarantee today that I've touched your heart.
Yes.
Now, yeah, you read my blurb. You read the marketing speak about me.
Right.
You read about some of my achievements. Now, Sean, you didn't. We're surprising you every step of the way, fortunately. But I'm touching your heart in what I do.
Yeah.
I'm living my dream, my goal, my desires here. And so everyone that listens, what I want them to understand is with your goal can be, as Sean said, I want to make money, I want to, whatever business, etc., or thoughts are. But if you touch somebody's heart with what you do, you just watch the world change for the better.
And to complement what you said, Jayc, most people, I believe, from chatting with you this short little time, and I goosebumps are like 4 inches higher off my arm. But anyways, most people live their lives logically.
Yeah.
They don't live their lives emotionally enough to connect with their true greater purpose. And when you do that, you make the biggest significant impact in that other person's life. And I promise you, they will remember you and remember what you've done. You've done for them when you connected with them that way. It's
exactly.
like, oh my God, they're like so big. Do you know what I mean? And what you said earlier is the number one reason why this show started. And we will have a live talk show some point in time in the near future where we won't be on a Zoom hangout. We'll be live in studio. And that was my greater purpose and calling. Thank you so much for sharing. It's a blessing.
Oh, look, I love being here, and to touch both of your hearts. That's made my day, and hopefully touch the hearts of those who are watching even more.
I'm gonna share this. I just got off a coaching call before this, and there's gonna be people, and this is the universe's way of connecting you with the right people that you need to be connected with when you're in that. I don't know if it'd be mindset or whatever, but when you need things to happen, guess what? They're gonna freaking happen. He said, don't try and think about it. Just go with the flow and just go and make a difference and make it happen. And I was just like, oh.
I have a statement on my wall beside me. Stop thinking. Stop talking.
Start doing
Feel it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that most people forget to do is feel.
Yeah. They're too busy thinking.
Yeah.
Well, what about this and what about that and this and that and this and that and this? No, just go with it.
Feel it and do it.
Yeah.
And then the other one thing that bugs me about the spiritual world, I will only do it if it feels aligned. I'll only do it if it feels good. No. Some things are going to feel like crap
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but they're going to feel really, really horrible. Do them.
Yeah.
I have done investigative stories around a pedophile case. Now, do you think that was a really happy experience for me?
No, definitely not.
But do you think that I touched people's lives and changed some lives while I did that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, did the guy get locked away? Yes, he did. Did one of the daughters get peace in her heart from that? Absolutely.
Yeah. Not only that, Jayc, here's the other part. Not only that, on the flip side, you probably built a relationship that's going to last a lifetime because of that connection.
Yeah.
And you could become best friends forever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the best part of this whole thing is just you go with that feeling. It's you know, you're going to take, that's why being an entrepreneur, it's not always a straight road. You're going to go here, you're going to have some people come in your life, come out of your life, you're going to go this side, and then you're going to go down this hill, and you're going to go up this hill, and this other person is going to show up, and this one's going to leave, and somebody else is going to come in, and it's just the way it is, and that's why that map goes around, round, round, and then when you get to the end, it's win. But the road's never straight.
But guess what? And I've just got to correct you on one tiny thing. The win isn't the destination. The win is the
what
journey.
You become along the way.
It's that journey. It's every step of that journey is the win.
It's the
and when
small
you realize,
wins.
when you put it in the context of this moment, everything is a win.
Yeah.
Everything in this moment. And most people, oh, I'm worried about tomorrow, I'm worried about next week, I'm worried about next month. Oh, I'm worried about last year. Oh, I did this last. What about right this second?
Yeah.
Because this is all that matters.
Yeah, the now.
It's all that matters. Now, my beliefs were anchored even more, as if I hadn't done enough. In 2015, my small intestine burst. I had emergency surgery and died on the table. I had a near-death experience where I met 10,000 angels and the Archangel Michael, just to really blow my mind a bit more.
Just to kind of solidify it.
You know, just as if there wasn't enough going on. You know, as if there wasn't enough going on in my life already. And he gave me a very specific message.
It's all about blowing people's minds.
And then it was actually about saving lives. And I went, well, how can I save lives? I'm not a surgeon, I'm not a doctor. And then I realized that because I need to teach love, I need to teach people to get into their hearts. And then when I opened my eyes after surgery and Sveta walked into the recovery room, because she had to translate the surgeons and the doctors and the nurses, because I don't speak Russian and they didn't speak English. And I'm lying there with my head strapped to a table, a tube down my throat, a huge 12-inch scar down my belly, tubes coming out of all sorts of places where tubes have never come out of. And she had to explain how this was going to come out of my mouth and what instructions to do. And I looked into her eyes. Now, you've already heard that I looked into her eyes at Ukraine more. I now know why I came back. Because if you know anything about astral traveling, when you astral travel into the other dimensions, this is for all those spiritual people. Let's get a little woo-woo for a second. There's a silver cord, or silver or gold cord, depending on your belief system, that attaches itself to you and you astral travel. And you're always attached to your body. I wasn't attached to my body when I had my near-death experience. I wasn't attached. I had the choice. I completely died. I left my body. But I came back, and when I looked back into Sveta's eyes, I knew then why I was back. I knew that moment. And then, a few days, about 7 days after the surgery, I'm sitting on the toilet because, you know, my small intestine had been had burst and been stitched back together. So everyone wanted to know my toilet habits. So Sveta had to help me to the toilet. I'd sit there, wait, relax, let nature take its course. I nearly passed out and collapsed. So we called for the nurse, get me back to the bed. I stabilize a little bit, so Sveta turns the light off. And as she turns, I'm in a completely dark room. And there's this bright white light that's about 8 inches high off my belly or across the area of where my surgery was. It was like a white light box. And she could see that. And she said, I can see this white light there. And I said, yeah, they're just healing me because we just had a stitch move. And I'm being healed right now. Mm-hmm. That was angelic healing that I was experiencing, and she could see it happening. She's also a very, very amazingly connected woman. Mm-hmm. Amazing connection. And so my beliefs, my values, my experiences have anchored who I am today. That's how I can be so sure of who I am and what I'm doing.
How many people wouldn't go down the path that you've gone down because they're so afraid of what everyone else thinks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, my family don't necessarily agree with what I do. On one side, they're proud of me. On the other side, they don't understand me. And that's okay.
Do you know what I think part of that is, Jayc? I think it's a lot because so many people, and we talked about this on our call today, so many people are selfish and it's about them. Mm-hmm. It's not they don't know how to communicate, they don't have the confidence, they don't have the emotional stability, and they don't have the mental clarity on why they live their lives and what their true purpose is.
And do you know why they live like that?
Because that's society's way when we're raised from our paradigm shift from when we were born about, just be average, just go get a job, just pay your bills, just pay your mortgage and just settle through life.
Yeah.
And you play at the really lowest level to just enough to get by. They're not willing to exert, to go over and above, do like big, hairy, audacious goals. I mean, all that crazy stuff.
I got on a plane and went to a country where I knew nothing. And I blew away myself. I blew away the producers. And they were all skeptics. Now the show, I was on series 11. The show is now up to series 17, I think. Either 17 or 18. Excuse me. And it's still sitting at number 2 in the ratings.
Nice.
And it's a huge, absolutely phenomenally huge show here. And it's syndicated all around the world. I've had people in the UK, the USA, Canada, Poland, Germany, Switzerland, where else? Spain, the Netherlands, who have seen me on the Russian cable channel.
So let me ask you a question. Can we get a copy of that so we can have a look at it? Because we don't know nothing about that here in Canada.
Okay. Due to copyright and licensing issues, I knew that was coming. I cannot legally distribute the show. However, if somebody wants to see bits of it, if you search for Jayc Ryder, Jayc Ryder on YouTube, you'll see an overview of my tasks. That is a 2-minute clip that they've allowed me to use. You'll also see our love story between Sveta and I.
Cool.
And you'll also see a little bit about how I was injured when a bomb exploded on set at the finale. And you'll see me running from an explosion. And I happened to tear my thigh in 3 places. And just before we filmed that finale, I said to the producers, I can feel burning. I'm going to get injured. And they're going, no, it's all perfectly safe. Nah.
I guess
I had
wrong.
Well, I had a choice at that time I could either continue knowing that I'd get injured, or I could walk away and forfeit my position in the show.
Yeah, interesting.
And I wanted to continue. And then my final task was on the show on Bitvex Vasensiv was Chernobyl. And I had to find 4 objects and do a reading on the operator, the machine room operator of the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. And I gave some information that I was then instructed not to say, and I had to modify what I said because the truth could not be made public because it would discredit that particular person. And I had the head of the director of the Chernobyl Museum there, and she confirmed what I said, and she said, "How did you know?" Well, I could see through his eyes. I could see what he was doing. I could see what was happening.
Jayc, I have a question. Will you come on again?
Damn.
Sure, we can talk about all sorts of fun things. Happy
Yes,
to.
we can.
But maybe for some point, it doesn't have to be happy, fun things. It could be more in-depth things that could take people to a whole new level in different areas of their life.
Yes. Absolutely, would love to.
Absolutely, yes. It's been a pleasure, and we're past the hour already.
It's okay.
Yep,
it's okay.
I just looked at the time myself and went, "Oh yeah, we've just hit over the hour." Whoopsie.
Yeah.
But here's the best part. We're not on a stopwatch. No. We don't have bosses. We're the boss. We control and a little bit extra value. I'm pretty sure people love that.
Yes.
And if we're willing to give it our all and going over and providing more value to people, I'm sure they're okay with that because that value is priceless.
I just want to reiterate one point.
Go ahead.
Your purpose is to love and be loved. And that means where you have a skill, you have an ability, you have a job, you have a hobby, you have your family, you have your friends, you have the person that drives the bus that takes you to the location. If you decide in each moment you are going to love and be loved, watch how your life changes. Watch what you receive increase. Watch what happens when you give to people from a place of love, not a place of desperation, not a place of what's in it for me. And then you receive the most amazing situations, opportunities, abundance. You receive wealth in ways that you could never imagine.
Yeah.
But it takes effort, it takes action, and you can't just sit your butt on the couch and expect the world to revolve around you.
Bingo.
Go ahead, Julie, and I'll close it up and we'll
I just said bingo because that's exactly true. There's so many people that it's just like, come on, I did this. I signed up for this program, or and somebody promised me something because that's what they heard. That's, so many people want everything, but don't want to do anything for it.
I meditated and I believed that I could receive all this abundance. Yes, and what action did you take? Well, I meditated. That's the action. No. Did you get off your butt and talk to somebody? No.
Yeah.
Well,
decision, action, proper communication, the confidence, the mental clarity, and the emotional stability of, hey, you know what? If I don't do this, I'm going to be broke. People focus on the money. People focus on the money all the time. They don't focus on, hey, better communication, confidence, mental clarity, and emotionally stable, so that when they're physically stable, guess what? The abundance, like you said, Jayc, is going to be automatically coming in.
Oh yeah.
You won't even have to be chasing it. People chase the wrong thing. They chase the money.
Yeah.
And I was guilty of it too.
We all were. Yeah. Money is just a tool. And
But money's a byproduct
it's a
of the value
screwdriver.
that you provide the world.
Exactly. It's a screwdriver, and you can do a lot with that screwdriver. But you've got to take action with it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to become a master of it.
For sure.
And that decision to make a difference
Yes.
in yourself first, so that people say, hey, this guy's confident, he communicates well, he's emotionally connected, and he's the mental clarity that he has and the difference he wants to make. That's why this group came about, and this is why I believe the universe sent you to us.
Absolutely.
So if, Julia, your seatbelt's not fastened, you watch out, man. And big things are coming, because it's exciting. So we would just want to say thank you guys for sharing this 43 minutes with us. We're so blessed to have spent this 45 minutes with Jayc and Julia on another awesome edition of Success with Dynamic Duo. Have yourselves a great day, guys. Watch the replay. Connect with us on Facebook. We're super excited, and we will see you guys on the next live. Take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Take care. Bye.